Um, Hi. I straight up nearly forgot to do this today. It's 1:20 in the morning. I just took my medicine. I was about to crawl into bed. And my brain said, double check and make sure you've linked today's thing in the Discord that I drop. You know, I drop them daily there. Um, and then the other part of my brain went, you dumbass, you haven't done it yet. So here we are. In retrospect, this is kind of what I should be doing anyway. Now that I wouldn't say I've necessarily broke the streak. Um, I am still doing these daily for me, once per sleep cycle. So like, but unfortunately, you know, due to long uploads here and there and forgetting to start early enough on nights like tonight, um, there are a few examples of when you look at the calendar, actual days that are missing. Um, and that's one of the reasons that I haven't moved it back to just before I get in bed. Um, it's kind of what I would like. I may stick to that going forward whenever I'm getting ready to go to bed. And some nights even from bed, maybe. um, do these as part of, just daily reflection and wind down before getting in bed. Um, so that's what today's going to be. And then I don't have to go, well, tonight after I recorded, I can just be, no, I went to bed. I did what I do every night. I, I played the two mobile games that roll over. Like, one of the ones I keep up on is AFK Arena, just because it's something to do for 10 minutes every day. And I think the daily reset on that, like, I don't know where the server's based. It might be based in somewhere in Europe, and it's rolling over at midnight there, but like it's like 8 or 9 in the afternoon here. That rolls over, or something like that. Either way, most of the most of the mobile games I keep up with roll over at 3 a.m. for me, and I don't know, which I believe is it's actually 9 a.m. the local server time or whatever. Opera Omnia is when it rolls over then. Brave Exodus rolls over then. I messed around in War of the Visions for a while. That's when War of the Visions rolls over. I'm pretty sure that's when the Kingdom Hearts game rolls over. I also think somewhere around in there is where Fire Emblem Heroes rolls over. So the majority of them are right there in that time period for me. And nope, Kingdom Hearts does not. Kingdom Hearts uses West Coast time. Because I've got two clocks that are not my current time zone on my phone. I have London and San Francisco. But Nick, you have friends in Germany. Why don't you have Germany on there? Because Germany's easy. Germany's 6 hours. That's so easy to keep up with. Just glance at an analog clock and it's it. The only like it there are literally only like 6 days out of the year that's not right, and that's when daylight saving doesn't line up for us. Like, but almost, you know, literally 99% of the year, I can just glance over at that clock, go, 1 and change, 7 and change. It's that easy. It's so easy. It's not, it'd be 10:30. I just kind of glance over. 10:30, 4:30. It's so easy. It's so easy to keep up with Germany. Um, oh, the other one was the Pokemon. Oh, what is it called? Is it just called Masters? That doesn't sound right, but it might be. The one with Saint. I think it is Masters. I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with it lately. Lately, the only ones I've really been keeping up with is Opera Omnia Super Hard, which I've been super hard into Opera Omnia since I got back into it a few years ago. Basically, I followed it from day one up around the time until like EX weapons came out, which were the first set of weapons to come with an extra ability for characters. And my draw luck was so awful with these EX weapons, I actually got discouraged to stop playing the game for a while. And I don't think I came back for. I also convinced myself I wasn't going to play again until, like, at the time Japan was so far ahead, we had an extensive roadmap. There's still about there's still a couple of months ahead of us, but either content slowed way down or comparing. There's a website where you can go back and forth and compare global to Japan. Um, Once global settled into a rhythm after its first year or so, I think it began to close the gap. Um, because there's a very consistent rhythm to the way a month is going to work. Each month you're going to get 2 new characters. Uh, most months they are both event characters, and on some months for a while there, while we were hardcore catching up, but now we're only like 2 or 3 chapters behind. It was one event character, one story chapter character. Uh, then going back to the roadmap thing though, they were far enough ahead that we were like in chapter 5, and Japan had either they were revealing these things very beforehand, or they were much, much further ahead of us. Because if we were in Act 1, Chapter 5, Japan was in like Act 2, Chapter 4, and I know that specifically because that's the chapter Frere was released in. And I was just like, I'll come back a little while. I'll come back. I'd been keeping up with it adamantly to the time, and at that point, there wasn't as much extra and high level content as there is now. And the little bit that was there, I definitely didn't have the team to do. Gosh, I remember actually struggling to beat the last story chapter in the first act. And now I laugh at the concept of the normal difficulty story chapters challenging me in any way whatsoever. But it's good because that means they're that accessible, especially now, especially going back through. I have a second account, and I haven't gotten overly into it, but I got it, and I got big into it when the second set of weapons that start giving abilities come out, which is LDs. Which the LDs and the bursts, the third weapon that gives an extra ability, came out around the same time. But like, I got one LD ability, and story chapters were not challenging anymore. Like, seriously, it was very rare. It was very rare that I had to do anything that wasn't just LD, LD again. All right, we're good. Because it was a good group one too. Um, but back to the schedule thing, you're going to get two of those, and you're going to get two lost chapters, which is the permanent return of event characters, because event characters are only available for their event, and then in a couple of months they'll return as event characters. Um, and now that we're in burst era, you're going to get two bursts per month. Um, the first one's probably going to launch with a, especially right now, the windows are like, okay, so for instance, the last big event burst was, they're pairing them with, now that crystal level 80 is out, they're pairing them with upgrades to that. Any event character comes fully upgradable, of course. LD, LD, and now they do LD boards, which I won't get into. But like, and when a character returns in a lost chapter, they come fully built with LDs and everything. For a while, when we were really lagging behind, that wasn't even true for EX weapons. Specifically, I remember when Lulu came out, in her event, she didn't get an EX weapon, but Auron and Jet got theirs. I think Auron's was a rerun. Like at the time back then, it was you'd get a new LD and a rerun on every banner. Now you get it's always been 3 characters to a banner. Now it's 3 characters to a banner. All of them have their EXs. One of them's going to have an LD, and that's going to be the focus of the banner. And when a burst is released, it's offered on like half of the month of the pulls. So, for example, going back to the beginning of the month, or the beginning of January, there was the release of Fearon from Final Fantasy II's burst weapon. There was I want to. Is that when the boss rush was dropped? I think it was. Or did the boss rush come with? No, the boss rush was one of the last ones to have as well. Okay, no. So there was a, it wasn't a raid. Oh, it was the, Perfectum strata. Anyway, a type of event, a type of event that comes around that doesn't focus on characters necessarily. Launched it. The way those events work is they usually loosely focus around 6 characters, and that's the one they introduce the burst in. In this case, and both they come with 2 draws because it's 3 people for banner, with the burst characters, burst weapon and LD weapon being available on both draws. Then after that was, what character was it? Oh, I know this. Come on. It was. Is it Leon's Lost Chapter? No, he was just. No, he was just featured on. Who was it? Not the Lost Chapter, the event. Oh, it was, or was it? I think it was. I can't remember the guy's name, but it was a villain from Final Fantasy III. Um, oh no, no, that was the month before because that was with Beatrix's character event. Oh, this is bothering me. Oh, it's gonna bug me now. Who was it? Who recently got LDs? Come on, man. The last one was Dark Knight Cecil in that. Exodus Lost Chapter. Oh, who was it? Come on, who dropped the full cards? X-Step. Who dropped the full X-Step? It's gonna bother me now. Anyway, there was that event character, and that event character came with their LD, of course, and Furon's Burst was still on it. Then there was X-Death from Final Fantasy V, his lost chapter. He returned with his burst. Furon's EX was still on that. And then there was a second event that released an old story character. Then there's a second event. So like the first and last events of a burst cycle introduce LDs for older story chapter characters, because a lot of the time, especially some of the old ones, it took a while to get them caught up because they've been around since the beginning. Where like when any kind of new thing drops, for the most part, EX is sort of excluded. You know, at first, but as time went on, when a character released, it was basically up to date. But so they're having to play catch up with a lot of the original characters, like the Warrior of Light and Rim and Vivi and all that stuff. The characters that you get really, really early on before a lot of these elements were introduced to the game. The bursts ride out the full gamut of so long, and then like after Dark Knight, after Dark Knight Cecil's event, come on, brain, you can do this. I believe in you. Never mind, you failed me. Kieran! No. Ignore that. It was Zombie, which is the character from... I'm confused. Ignore the, so Kieran was last... Okay, no. You know what? I'm confusing myself because globally, when Beatrix launched, is different from Japan. So it was... there was not an extra event. Her lost chapter was the last thing that. Sometimes the event comes out before the lost chapter. No, it was Leon from Final Fantasy II. But no, it should no, it shouldn't be because he didn't get an LD. That's not where we are on. Where's that stuff? I'm way too far up. So Kirim was the last lost chapter to get an LD. And then so Rude was before. Man, why am I doing this? Why am I delving into this rabbit hole right now? uh, look at that later. Anyway, yeah, I keep up real heavy with Opera Omnia. I like the gameplay loop. I like the way it plays. Um, it's just fun. Um, that's weird though, because I think she has that. She does. Anyway, stop. I'm just reading. I've lost whatever. What did I do today? I played Death Stranding. I played a lot of Death Stranding. I got up. I sat around for a little bit. I went to town to get, lunch for everybody. Came back. I ate chicken. And then I spent the rest of the day playing Death Stranding. There's nothing to talk about. And I guess that's why I went on about a phone game for 23 minutes. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I've got to process and upload this.